I just realized I didn't hit the go live button. I didn't hit the go live button. I just realized. Here I was talking away. Let me start over because I did not hit the go live button. Hey, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage and my late start. I just realized I was sitting here going, why am I not getting any responses from people? And apparently I didn't hit the go live button on the live stream. So guess what? We're starting over. I'm not going to go through the little introduction thing again. However, this is the Thursday live stream we do at 3 o'clock. And we do these on Mondays at 7, Thursdays at 3. I'm glad everybody is here. I see a whole bunch of people have shown up, and I was talking about all of you. And I did not have the go live button hit. That's funny. So now I see I have 14 people watching. Awesome. So anyway, if you've been here before, most of you know how this works. We do this live stream. We talk about classic cars. Sometimes we go off the rails. We may talk about movies or food or stuff going on in the world. And yeah, I apologize for not getting hit the start button. That's the first time I think I've done that. Anyway, so I want to see what's going on. Currently, the weather outside, it's 55, 57 degrees. It's wet and rainy. I don't care for that. It's one of those days where you just want to get a bowl of chili and sit down and watch some TV, and hang out here, do live stream stuff. So as you all know, we do questions and answers about classic cars. And if anybody has a good question and answer, they get a bell for that. And we give other bells for random things on occasion. So that's how this works. If you do have a question, even if you've been here before and you want to bring something up, a subject matter, great. Let's talk about things. I'm still trying to get it to my mind that I missed the go button. I don't know how I managed that. So let's see who's here anyway. Terry Keithley. Afternoon, Barry and all. Please hit the like button and thumbs up for Barry. Yes, by all means, please do that. Greg's Workshop checking in from Australia. Ed Cucciarella checking in. He's got his Ranchero on the little picture there in the YouTube. Jerry checking in from the Money Pit, Middle Tennessee. It's rainy, cool day. Yes, it is too. I mean, it's all just not fun weather. Karsten, hello from Denmark. Glad you're here, Karsten. Troy, good afternoon from a rainy coastal Georgia. That was one of the things I was trying to talk about briefly here. He says coastal Georgia. I don't know if you've seen the news or what we call the news, but there's apparently that island in Spain, La Palma, has volcanic activity going on, and they're talking about the potential for a big landslide and a tsunami. Let's sure hope not. Let's just sure hope not. We don't need that. We don't need that to happen. But it keeps popping up on my news feed every so often. Robert, I'm here and early and at home this time with the computer instead of using my phone to type. Yes. Glad you're here, Robert. Crash Rider. Hello, everyone. Cold and rainy day here in southern Indiana. Joe Day is going to warm things up with his wit and humor. Yeah, if you can remember to hit the go button and start the show. Blue Healer. Greetings from northern Nevada. Snow on the mountains already. Yep. No snow for me, thanks. I like to see the snow. I don't even mind being in snow. I just don't want it here. I don't want any snow. Ron Bell, hey Barry, checking in from Tri-Cities in Northeast Tennessee. Glad you're here. Boogie Bum from Nashville. So we've got like 3 or 4 people already from Tennessee. That's awesome. Charles Busby. Charles late here, but from Pensacola, Florida. Glad you're here, Charles. Robert, I talk to myself all the time. It's the only way I can ensure an intelligent conversation. Yeah. And, I usually argue myself with, the best. I argue with myself all the time. Tony. Hi, Barry. The stars have aligned again. I'm back from Brisbane, Australia. Exciting to be able to chat with you live. Awesome. So let's see. I'm back from Brisbane, Australia. So I don't know where you went or back from or where you're at right now, but I'm glad you're here. Let's chat. Crash Rider, have you? Wait, hope you haven't installed any wheels lately. If you have, you better check the lug nut to make sure you tighten them. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. And that's a habit that I'm very adamant about. Anytime I work on stuff, and my friends know me, I can do an oil change for somebody, work on the brakes, whatever, and I will go at least twice around what I worked on, to the point where I'm touching the bolt that I just tightened and saying to myself, tight, tight, tight. It's just one of those things, the aircraft industry type of thing where it's I need them to know that is tight before I move on. So, John, tell us about your Mustang. Well, a lot of people here have seen this Mustang. If you are interested in seeing a complete rebuild of this Mustang, I think there's 100 videos on this car on YouTube. This car is affectionately known as Jade. The color you see is not the color that I see. The camera shows this as being a kind of a light Acapulco blue, which it's not. It is Gulfstream Aqua. This car is actually green. Yeah, it's green. Trust me, it's green. So anyway, it's a 68 coupe, V8 automatic car, factory AC. It was a 289. Nothing special. It had a center console in it, which was, not all the cars had consoles, but that was really about it. So what I've done is I've had a friend of mine rebuild a 302 for it. So it's got a nice 302, automatic is rebuilt, new floor pans, new torque boxes, new floor supports, new front aprons, new core support, new quarter panels, new tail panel, some other pieces and parts welded in here and there. It's converted to power steering. It's converted to power brakes. And it has a vintage air, modern AC system in it. All the front suspension is new. New hood. The hood that was on it, in the first video I did not like. So it has a new hood. But the fenders are original. The doors are original. And I've had to do work on those to make them right. Interior's done. New windshield, new chrome front and rear, new bumpers, new mirrors, new door handles, aftermarket wheels. You can see those are kind of a torque thrust style wheels. And, other than that, that's it. That's all I did. That's all I've done to that car. Oh, and of course, paint. Yeah, painted the car. So that's all I've done to that car. That's it. That's all. Just a couple things. Harvey checking in from New Jersey, listening and working. Good. Troy, has anyone done a T5 conversion? Did you keep the original clutch assembly inside and under the hood? Harvey, if he's, I know he's on, he says he's listening and working. Harvey has done that conversion with the T5. And I'm not sure. I think he has a video. On some of that process, where he adapted it to the cable system instead of the hydraulics. But I know Harvey has some information on that. Tony, sorry I've been on here before live, but just the once. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. I really am. John Westerdale, thanks. First timer. Okay. Yeah, there's like I said, there's like 100 videos on this car. I'm down to the little things right now. I'm working on putting the radio back in the car. I've got to put the hood inserts back in. This one has the hood inserts with the turn signals. So that's going to go back in. I got to install the horns, the grill. I'm waiting on some pieces to come in that I've ordered. One of those is the center horn button that's in the wheel that I bought. I don't know where it's at, if it's going to show up. Hopefully it does. Can't finish it until I get that much done. There was a goal I had, a month or so ago, to try to take it to a car show or cruise in before the year was out. There is a car show or cruise this coming weekend, but I don't know what the weather's going to do. I don't know that, the temperature's dropping. It's calling in Atlanta area 50% chance of rain. Not real interested in driving this car in the rain. It's not so much that I'm worried about the car. I'm more worried about other people and how they drive, and the very chance that they could, plow into it, which would not make me happy. Robert says painted twice. Yes, I did paint it twice. Karsten, I have been fighting my Buick to get the motor and the gearbox back in the car. Yeah, that can be a challenge sometimes. Harvey he says, my Instagram, Rallycat Garage, has pics and video on the T5 conversion. So, Troy, find Harvey, find Rallycat Garage on Instagram, and he's got pictures and a video of the T5 conversion. So hopefully that'll give you some information, to help you out with that. So what I was getting at earlier, whenever I realized that I wasn't actually talking to you, I've been working on that. I left off on Monday with the Mazda 3 project, trying to get my son's car to pass emissions. Getting frustrated with it. I've cleared 2 of the 3 codes, P2004 and 2009. And those dealt with the solenoids that operate some sort of a little butterfly something in the intake manifold. The other one is 2177, which is lean at idle, bank 1. And I've talked about this. I did order, and I showed it on Monday, that little smoke generator. I bought the thing. It works. I plugged it in, connected it like it should, and I pumped the engine full of smoke trying to find a leak on, the intakes or somewhere. Where's it leaking? It's got to be getting air somewhere. And I don't know that I've come to a good answer. The confusing part is down where the wait a minute, check that out. I'm getting a phone call from WAGA TV Fox 5. I kind of doubt it. I think I'll skip over that one. That's weird. Anyway, so I pumped the engine full of the smoke, basically used baby oil. And it's kind of hard to describe, but where the smoke was coming out was at the bell housing on the underside of the engine. It wasn't coming out anywhere else. It wasn't coming out around the, intake or anything or any other vacuum lines, but there's a hole, factory hole casting, basically around where I think it's close to where the starter is. Anyway, there's a hole there, and smoke was coming out of the bell housing. And I'm like, how could it be doing that? How could it be coming out of the bell housing for the transmission? I can't for the life of me think where you would have a transition point between the block, or the intake manifold and the, bell housing for the transmission. So the machine worked. It did what it was supposed to do, but I don't think it gave me the answer I was looking for. So anyway, I did make another video. I made a video on I replaced those 2 solenoids on that car. And so I just edited that video. So that'll be coming out soon. And I made another video on the smoke machine and its function. And I show where the smoke was coming out of the car. So maybe somebody has some insight into this. It's kind of really weird the way that it's not doing what I expected. Let's see who else is here. Phil Clifford. Hi, Barry. Hope all is well. Yeah, it is. It's cold and wet, chilly and wet here in Georgia, but otherwise things are good. Troy, yes. Jay Kubies. Hey there. Glad you're here, Jay Kubies, or JK. I don't know how you want to be identified. Rusty's Mustang Garage, just checking in for a while. Good. Come on in. John, Any good ways to paint inside Cowl? Got my Sure Fit AC box coming in November. How much do I strip out of the dashboard? Well, I'm not familiar with the Sure Fit AC box. I'm assuming that it's the same setup or similar setup as the Vintage Air or the Classic Auto Air. If it is, you're going to be removing the entire air box. Okay, 68 Mustang. You'll be pulling out the whole air box, because normally what these things do is the air box incorporates the AC unit inside. And it's a Vintage Air. Wait, it's a Vintage Air system. Oh, I get videos on all this. Yeah, if you look up my Jade videos, look up the playlist Jade Mustang. I've got videos on just doing the whole Vintage Air setup. Yep. They may be a little stretched out because of different timeline things, but I have videos on all that. But basically, you'll move the whole box from underneath there. The instructions are pretty good. There will be you'll have to. I'm trying to. I don't remember this. Usually, when I do stuff, I do it and I film it. And I know what I'm doing, but sometimes I can't say, well, I had to drill a hole in this location. I can't remember specifically. But the box itself wasn't too hard to put in. I think the hardest part I had to deal with was because I had converted it to power steering. I had to modify some brackets to hold the AC compressor because of the way the systems weren't exactly the same. I had to make some shims. So really, the whole series on this stretches back a few years, honestly. When I was putting the power steering in, I worked on the customized bracket for the compressor. And then later on, as I worked on this car, I worked on getting the air box in place. I say air box, the whole module underneath the dash, getting that in place, and then getting everything else in, condenser and whatnot. So, but there are videos on that. I also have some videos if you were to look under the convertible Brooklyn Pony car. I did some videos with that as well. Similar. I mean, it's the same setup really, but it's complete in this car. And the thing works. It does what it's supposed to do. It does what it's supposed to do. Dawn checking in from Dawn's Manufactory out in Portland, right? I want to say Portland. Hope I'm right. I always think Seattle. I just know because I think it's raining. I think Seattle, but I'm pretty sure it's Portland. Robert, the Vintage Air is a very nice system. The heater valve is a little odd to find a place to mount, though. That is true. And I detailed that. In fact, John, whenever you're looking at the video for all of the assembly, all the stuff that's connected together, I went so far as to find a hose with a certain bend to it, let's say, that would allow the heater valve to be mounted. Like coming out of the firewall, the tubes kind of come out straight into the back of the valve cover. I mean, it's obvious they come out in the back of the valve cover. So you need something with an elbow. Well, I actually built or made a little wire jig, and I went to the parts store and I dug through all of their hoses until I found one that I liked. Actually, I found two that I liked. And then I cut the hose to make it fit, and it worked fantastic. So I gave all the information is in those videos or in the description, and it tells you what the part number is for those hoses. So just know that as you go forward. Dawn says, yes, Portland. Okay. Karsten, I have changed robe seal. So the motor have to be apart. So I have timing problems with the fuel pump, go bad, wiring, battery problem, but it's up and running now. Okay. Robe seal? I don't know what that means. You have changed. I don't know what that means specifically. But I'm glad it's up and running. That's a plus. I'll give you a bill for getting it up and running. Ed, on my vintage air install, I was able to put the heater control valve inside the cab. That's I guess you could. Well, I guess that's an option. I think you used a different type of kit though. Yours wasn't specific for the for your Ranchero though, right? Wasn't it like a universal fit? If I remember correctly, I think we talked about that. It wasn't like, because like the one for this car, it's designed to fit this car, and I thought you had used more of a universal type of system. Rusty, do you know of any retrofit AC system that allows use of the passenger side fresh air vent, or are these systems recirculating air only? What I did with this vintage air setup, it tells you to block off the passenger side. The reason for that is the air box. Because of the size of the air box, you just can't use that other side. It also tells you to block off the driver's side. I did not do that. I chose not to do that. I wanted to keep some fresh air, and I figured it may as well, if I'm going to be driving it, I want fresh air at least on the driver's side. So I kept it on the driver's side. So the cowl still functions, and it pushes air inside the car through that. But I don't know of any that allow you to keep both vents, unless you had one of those old systems. They had like the dealer installed retrofit system. I think that you could mount under the center of the dash, and it would have that big chunky block under the dash. That may be an option, but otherwise, I don't have an answer for that. Rear main seal rope. That may be. Well, he says rope seal, so maybe that's. When I'm thinking Buick, I don't know. I can't think. My mind doesn't say rope seal. Like rear main seal, it clicks. But yeah. So Dawn saying rear main, yeah. Ed, yes, it was a universal fit. That's what I thought. Yeah, I know that these, this for the Mustangs are specific to fit the firewall. John, rope. I guess seal by rear main bearing cap and oil pan. It may be. I mean, the Buicks, it may be different. It may be a different setup. And Carson is saying rope seal. Okay. All right. Angry Andy, I have my cowls removed. I'm planning on going with vintage air as well. Should I go ahead and close off the top hatch from inside the cowl there before I install? You could. It's not really going to matter. Basically, the top hats are yay tall, right? It would take that much water in your cowl to collect into those chimneys. I call them chimneys. I mean, you could just weld you could weld a plate on top of the chimney if you wanted to. The kits usually come, they block off the passenger side from the inside, a little plastic plate that you can attach. But you could do that. It really wouldn't hurt anything. I can't think of any real disadvantage to doing it that way, other than if you, like I said, I want to keep the fresh air coming in on the driver's side, so I kept that side open. But yeah, you could. I could see that. Let me see. I thought I had a different question up here. Oh, yeah, John. Any good ways to paint inside the cowl? I forgot to answer that question. I got my SureFit AC box coming in November. Okay, so good way to paint inside the cowl. I can't say there's necessarily a good way to do it. There's a variety of ways. One of the things that you could do, one of the things that I did on like the rocker panels on this car, when I had the quarters off and the wheel houses out, I could see all the way down the inside of the rocker panel. So what I did is I had some generic little syringes, like not even, they didn't have a needle on them or anything. They were just a syringe. And I took like Pour 15 or Chassis Saver, and I shot it deep into the rocker panels. And I took an air hose. My air hose has a tube on it, and I blew that stuff all the way through the rocker panel, all the way through. Well, what you could do as an option is you make sure the cowl is all cleaned out. Obviously, I don't know if you've got a new one or not, but if you clean it all out, you could take a syringe, like I was saying, those little generic syringes, put paint in there, and just go through the cowl vent up on top and just squirt paint into that area, and then take an air nozzle and blow it through the vents to try to get stuff to move around, and just try to get it to spread, across. There's other ideas out there. There's internal frame nozzles that you could use. The kits, but it's usually spraying their kind of like a primer type of paint. Or I did a video on using, I think it was it Eastwood or Evercoat internal frame coating, and basically the spray nozzle sprays in a fan pattern, so it doesn't like just spray flat. It's a circular fan. The idea is you're painting the inside of the whole frame rail. So you could come up with something like that. Another alternative is just you could come in from the sides with the syringe. Again, push it in and take the blow nozzle from the little vents. It's in the front corners, and just blow all over the place. That's some ideas. I know somebody who, when they were building the Mustang, they had the new lower cowl in place, and what they did, which is pretty ingenious, they painted the underside of the cowl to match the car, and then they took a piece of plastic and put it inside the cowl, and then welded the top half on. Okay. After everything was done, whole car was painted, ready to go. They went in through the side vent on the side the front corner, underneath the fender, and they grabbed that piece of plastic and wiggled it out of the car, and ended up with a nicely painted cowl underneath, which I thought was pretty ingenious. So you can use that if you want. Just be careful pulling on that plastic, because if you get it stuck, you might have a hard time getting it out of there. All right, so that question is taken care of. Where am I at here? Okay, Rusty says, thanks. Robert, I don't think any of the AC systems leave enough room to hook it up to the fresh air vent in the cowl. In my opinion, the Vintage Air is the best system out there. Okay. I mean, it's all I've ever used, so I'm going to have to agree with you on that. Dawn, I designed an AC for Betsy that retained the original heater box. The evaporator was round and extended up the hat. Never installed it, though. Just haven't needed an AC in Oregon until recently. Okay. Interesting approach. I'd like to see that. Charlie, I would try a couple of different size foam brushes. I think we're talking about the painting. Thank you, Charlie. Ron, I used a classic auto air system when replacing the cowl. I removed the top hats and welded the opening closed, covered with fiber all-in body filler, epoxy primer, and chassis black paint. Okay. I have a question for you, Ron. When you did your classic auto air, did you receive it? Do you remember how you received it? Was it in 2 boxes? Reason I'm asking is the 67 that I bought, the 67 coupe that I bought, just got home recently. I have one box that says on a label, it says box 1 of 2. So the people that I got the car from, they said that's the only box they have. I'm a little concerned. I don't think it's the whole system. So I'll just grab the box so you can see it. It's a big box. I'll say that. I mean, it's a big box. It's got a little weight to it. I think it says on it. I think it says it weighs 46 pounds. Yeah, 46 pounds. But there's no shipping label, like no packing list on it anymore. And on the label, like I said, from the people that got it, it says box 1 of 2. So I don't think it's all here. And I don't know what, if I were to contact Classic Auto-Air, I would have to say, hey, I need box 1. So let me go back and answer look at these answers. Jerry, he says he would try an airbrush to paint the inside of the cowl. That's a good idea. Carson says yes, it is a rear main seal. Have to take the crankshaft out to change it. Okay. Thank you, Carson. Don, it would be nice to seal the pinch weld from inside the cowl after it's assembled. I feel better about rust prevention. I agree. But the reality, Don, the reality is, what year is your car? And did it ever actually rust out at those seals or at that pinch weld? You have to put that in perspective. This car, that's the original cowl in this car. And it's solid, right? Was it painted inside? Was it sealed? Nope. Never. So we all think about these things, rust coming in, affecting the car and life and whatever. But it took 50 years in some cases or longer for these things to rust apart. So you've already done more than the manufacturer ever did for rust prevention inside of your cowl. So I know what you're saying, but I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Ed, evaporator kit maybe what is missing, I guess. Ron, yes, there were 2 boxes, one larger one with the evaporator, condenser, small parts, hoses, etc. The smaller box is the compressor. If you give Classic Auto-Air a call, they can get you squared away. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even want to open this yet. I just don't, because don't know what I'm doing with it at this point. Whether I'm going to sell the kit or what, but I'd like to have the whole kit. So apparently it's missing the compressor. Smaller box 2 is a compressor. Okay. I didn't want to have to buy more stuff just to complete the kit, but I may have to. Dawn is telling Carson you can change the rope seal without removing the crankshaft. You can. Yeah, you can. Dale, yes, mine came with 2 boxes. Okay, thank you, Dale. John, thanks. Use a 3-foot piece of aircraft braided cable, cut off plastic sheathing from last 4 inches and frayed it out, stuffed in weeper holes in cowl, and chucked it up in my drill, ran it slowly. Okay. That's a good way to break stuff loose. Dawn, Betsy was dipped after assembly sealing the pinch welds. Okay. They did that? Because I don't remember. I found a lot of places that there was just bare metal. A lot of stuff I've cut apart was just bare metal. There was nothing. I mean, no kind of sealant was in there. Not like I don't know what year they actually started dunking cars and get them in primer and stuff to get them inside and out. But I've taken apart a lot of these and didn't find anything. It was just raw metal. Jerry changed the rear main rope seal without having to take the crankshaft out. I just loosened the main bolts and use a plastic tool to remove the rope seal, and it comes out in pieces. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can do it. You can change it. You can do it. Ron, there should be a package with the build sheet that will spell out exactly what was included in the kit. Yeah, that's true. But again, I just didn't want to. The box is sealed right now, you know? And I thought, man, if I decide to sell it, I would like to have all the pieces, and I just didn't want to open it up. Karsten, yes, I've seen some video about it, but it doesn't work for my make. Okay. Angry Andy, since my cowls are removed, the back of the dash is exposed. Surface rust to planning, thinking about using port 15 or similar. Any drawbacks? No, there's no real drawbacks. I mean, you can just about anything is going to work. Again, this is another scenario where I think what gets us confused sometimes about rust is rust, in effect, is a way for the metal to kind of protect itself. That's really what it comes down to. If it's bare surface metal and it rusts over, generally that's it. It just stops. Now if there's other things involved with salt or chemicals or stuff like that encourages the rust, or if it's entrapped, in these pinch welds and stuff where you get salt and stuff, then the rust has nowhere to go and it just keeps on eating away trying to get out. So like the stuff you see on the back of your dash, it's probably just like soft surface rust. There is no it's not like big pits and stuff, right? And the rust did its job, let's say, in protecting itself. Now, is there anything wrong with adding primer or something on, paint? No, not at all. Go ahead and do that. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And like I said, Robert says pore 15 will work there. And Charles also points out pore 15 is not UV resistant. Right. So it's really good to use inside areas that won't be exposed to sunlight. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Don, red primer inside the cowl just started where an air bubble formed. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen, like I said, I've taken stuff apart and there was nothing inside of the car. Nothing. All right. John, does cowl come off without pulling windshield? No. No, windshield's got to come out. Pinch weld, I have videos on that as well. If you look up my channel, I've on the there's at least two cars that I've done the cowl on that I have videos for. But yeah, you can't windshield's got to come out. Just know that. Yeah, Charlie talking about not UV resistant. And okay, Karsten, no problem get it out, but no problem getting it out, but you can't get it in. You can't compress it. He's talking about the seal. Okay, that makes sense. Makes you wonder if you couldn't, like, just a thought here, just a thought. If it is like a rope, I don't know. I'm not familiar with, most of the seals that I've seen on rear main seal, it's a beveled seal, in a half moon. So you have two halves that come together and the bevel matches against itself. So a lot of times you can take it, set the one half on and rotate it in and underneath the crankshaft. So that's what I think everybody's suggesting. In this case, if it has more like a rope style, which I don't know, you might be able to, for lack of a better term, take a piece of wire and snake it under instead of trying to push it through, pull it through. But again, it's probably easier or makes more sense to pull the crankshaft. So just do it however works for you, but I'm just offering ideas. Okay, so Jason, and Robert are discussing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Pour 15, like he's saying, if you ever open up a can, you better use it. You can seal it with plastic. You can recover it, but put some plastic. But the shelf life is not real long on that stuff. It wants to dry out pretty quick. Let's see. Okay. So as I was saying, with the Mazda 3, I was trying to get the smoke check on it, trying to get that taken care of. I actually had, I'm going to probably wait to do any more work to that car. If it wasn't raining, I would plan to roll the Honda in here and start working on the Honda and try to get it moving. I was going to take Jade and put it in the back, park the Mazda outside, and let it sit in the weather because it doesn't matter. But because of the way the weather is right now, I'm not moving anything. Not moving anything in and out. Don, back in the day, mechanics would drive a wire behind the upper to tighten it to crank, then replace the lower half. Interesting. I guess I really hadn't thought of that. That feels like you're cheating. But I guess if it works, it works. That's an interesting approach. I guess you could probably use, maybe instead of wire today, maybe like a Teflon, a piece of Teflon or something could put some pressure on that the block half. I hadn't really thought about that. That's an interesting approach. Okay, so what else is going on out there? The end of the year is coming. October, we're running out of year, and I still have a lot of stuff I want to try to get done. Still have other things that are on my mind, put it that way, and just trying to make sense of it all. So I'm hoping that I can. Oh wait, Tony, did you have a question? Where was it at? Because sometimes questions don't. For some reason, I sometimes don't. So Tony, what did you ask me? I'm panning back through and I don't see it. It might have been. It's very possible I skipped over it. Ask it again. Oh, up further. I don't see it, Tony. Ask it again, please, and we'll see if I can't answer for you. Because I can scroll so far, and there's so many comments on the side that it's really hard for me to. Because I think the only one I have, the last one I saw, talked about Australia, and I've been on here before live, but just the once, and then I don't see another question. I mean, sometimes I miss things, but sometimes they don't show up. Okay. We'll get that. So Tony, rusty structure, but good panels. Where to start? Middle out or front to back or back to front? Rusty structure, but good panels. So I guess I'm a little confused by that. Rusty structure. You talking about the frame structure, like the inner structure, is solid, but the exterior panels are good. Is that what you're implying? Basically, you look at it like this. It depends on what the conditions are. A lot of times what I will try to do is work from the back to the front if I can. If there's something wrong with the car overall. I want it because the back of the car, is the roof structure, the rocker panels, quarter panels, all that stuff. You had some bad frame conditions. Then you can maintain the structure with the rocker panel and the roof and the quarters, all that stuff, keeping it together, and cut out what's bad. So if you're talking about the rear frame, do one side at a time, repair one side at a time, keep reference points, keep measurement points so that you get everything back in the same index where it started from. If the back of the car is okay, then, work your way obviously to the front and do the same thing. You can create a jig out of wood. If you wanted to, you could set the car up on pinch welds on jack stands and just basically make, if the car's not been wrecked or anything, indicate where the frame rails are, make a basic wood jig that matches those rails, cut them out, put your new ones in, get them to sit on the jig in the same location. Okay. So what he's saying is all those panels are good. Cowl and front frame rails are really bad. Okay. Well, basically that's what I'm getting at is, so if you're going to do the cowl, I'm assuming, I think you said the pans are already good or still good. So let's think about it like this. Support the car by the pinch welds. Simply enough, underneath the rocker panels, get it nice and level or square or whatever. If you're taking out the cowl, let's assume, I don't know if the firewall is all in good shape or if just the cowl is bad. Normally the cowl goes bad, it rusts out the floor pan, which leads to frame rails and torque boxes, floor support, stuff like that. So once you get the car set up on the jack stands or whatever, you can, like I said, build a basic jig out of wood to indicate exactly where those frame rails are sitting in the car. You could cut notches. You could cut notches in the wood so that it sits up underneath. Get your measurements, make sure it's all accurate, and basically cut out what's bad. If you're going to replace the whole frame rail, keep that, have your jig set up to where it comes out, goes back in the same location. And if you're working on, I don't know what year model, if it has torque boxes, of course, you're going to have to take out the torque boxes, if it has them. And I recommend you get, you can buy them in one piece, but you're going to end up cutting them apart to put them in correctly. So I hope that helps you. If you let me know if I'm not, if I'm not answering your question, let me, give me some feedback here. Okay. Jerry, do you think there might be a leaky valve which could allow the smoke to escape the intake and combustion chamber? Just a thought. I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but it still doesn't explain why it would come out at the bell housing. Doesn't make any sense why it would come out at the bell housing. So, okay, so let's go back up here a little bit. Don says it was cheating, trying to beat flat rate, talking about putting in a wire on the seal. Yeah. Robert, rear main seal kits used to come with a Chinese finger torture tool to pull a seal around the crank. Okay. Crash Rider, there's a tool made to pull a rope seal through without removing crankshaft. See, I was talking about I thought there was something, but I mean, on my mind I was thinking piece of wire or something like that, but I have not had to do one of those that way. Cool. For your firewall insulator, do you stick it on with something to the actual firewall, or does it clip onto the firewall? If you're talking about the factory type of stuff, there are locations, the jute fabric with a rubberized backing on it. There are like big rubber kind of plugs that go through that hold it all up in place. So if you're using that, there should be locations to where those plugs will hold it up and get it up in place. Otherwise, it doesn't stick with anything. Now, some people may have added, or may have had some. Let's say, depends on the year of the car. I think in some aspect, I think I have seen where when I've removed the insulation, some of the jute was stuck to the firewall. Now, that may have been factory. I don't know, but it wouldn't hurt to add some to that if that's what you're using. This car, I didn't do that. I used kill mat. Took all the original stuff out, put in two layers of kill mat on the firewall to eliminate all that stuff. But there should be clips that hold all that in place. Let's see. Phil, Barry, what's your email address? I'll send you a pic of the Holden. The email address, bottom of the screen. JoeDaddy'sGarage@gmail.com. Let me get further on down here. Karsten, tool made to pull a rope seal, yes, but after trying it, I do not see it will work. Waste one night, tried to do it. Okay. Yeah, do what's right for you, Karsten. Seriously. I mean, if you're more, I'm with you. Sometimes things you just go, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. I'm not fighting with it anymore. Just cut the cord and fix it another way. Tony, excited to be talking to all my idols by myself. I guess this way. You, Wally, and Don. Firewall on inline 6 minor rust. Okay. Tony, it definitely helps. Thank you. Exciting to be talking to all my idols, by the way. Okay, you, Wally, and Don. Thanks for your awesome videos. You're welcome, Tony. And I'm uncomfortable with the whole idol thing. I'm just a guy making videos and working on cars. So anyway, hope that all helps with Tony's situation and gets him straightened out. But yeah, you making a jig is pretty important when it comes to some of this stuff. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. Even if you're confident with where things are, you can definitely be really more assured by having some sort of a jig that holds things in. Robert, replacing rear main seals was never a sure thing. You hope the new one didn't leak. That is true. That is probably more true than we realize. I'm going to see if I can't. I want to try to hold on a second. I know I've shared these pictures on Facebook. I don't know if have I shared them on here. Hold on a minute. I don't think I did. No. Okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna download some pictures of the 67. It'll take just give me a second or two to get all this. Okay. So let me get these moving. I'm going to show you some pictures of the 67. Now, mind you, this car has been in different shops and different things have been done to it. And I can't say, who's done what, or, I don't know. But here's the first picture. Ready? Now this is the 67 that I'm going to turn into a fastback. It has rust in really odd places, and some of the work that has been done was not great. Just put it that way. But that's the car. There's another shot. Now, the owner had wanted to put on, the guy that owned the car, he had wanted to do like a California special style Shelby mix type of thing. So he had bought the Shelby nose, hood, deck lid, quarter extensions, the tail panel with the tail lights, and the side scoops. At this point, being that I'm going to make this into a fastback, I don't plan to use any of that stuff. So I will point out, if anybody is interested in, the fiberglass and the Shelby stuff, let me know. Just let me know. Because like I said, I don't plan to use it. But that's the car. And I have all the sheet metal. Well, I don't have a hood for it, and I don't have the original deck lid, but that doesn't really matter. And like I said, some of the work that was done to it was not very good, and it'll have to get addressed. There's issues with the A-pillars. There's rust in the top, in the roof, rain gutters. The good thing is the frame rails are nice and solid. Rockers and all that are solid. Front frame rails are good. Well, I say the left front frame rail is good. The right front frame rail, I will be sectioning in, or I doubt I'll replace the whole thing, but the frame rail is pretty messed up. So there will be a future video on this car. Just so you know, we'll get more information on that going. I still have to get all the parts for it, so that's going to make me adjust my timeline as to when I can actually start on it, because I'm not going to be cutting stuff loose until I have all the pieces here. Okay, let me see here. Don says, thanks, Tony. My videos chronicle my work, but barriers are great how-to videos. Yeah, well, thank you, Don. Robert, replacing rear main seals is never a sure thing. Yep. Tony, I love them all. Don, keep making them. Yeah, they're all good videos. Not just, Don and Wally and Andrew. All these car videos are very useful. Very useful. Robert, for the front frame rails, I welded up a stand to hold them up and keep them in place before welding. I replaced everything forward of the firewall. So there you go. So basically, like I was saying, a jig type of deal, and he made a stand. So that's I'm in agreement with you. Me cool. Yeah, you're right, because when I took out my firewall insulator, some of the fibers are sticking on to the firewall and almost looked like yellow glue was on it, but appreciate the help. Yes. Dawn, they make split seals to replace rope ones. Just have to cut off the locator pin from the lower cap. Okay. Wally, late to the show, just finished epoxy on the floor. Clean room, ready to go. That's a big plus, Wally. Glad you are here. Phil, I color coded the stainless and chrome items on the car. Oh, we're talking about, wait a minute. Were you going to send me something? Did it come? Let me see. If you sent me something, it hasn't shown up. I think it was you. Who was going to send me that? Was it Phil? Somebody was asking for my email. Color coded the stainless and chrome items on the car. Okay. Angry Andy. After trying a few different spot weld cutting techniques, I prefer the method you showed of using a 3-inch cutoff wheel. Yep. It works, and the beauty of that, using a cutting wheel or grinding wheel, whatever, is you can leave what I call the parent material. When we in doing aircraft repairs and sheet metal repairs and different things, you would have what we call parent material. And that parent material is where the other material attaches to it. And so by grinding off the top of the weld, you leave the structure of the bottom that you can now weld to. When you use a spot weld cutter, typically end up drilling a hole in the center of that, which is okay. And then secondly, you can, when you're doing the spot weld cutter, you're removing part of that material from the parent material. So yeah, I just like to do it that way. The other thing I might try to do is I have one of those little belt sanders. And so the next thing that I end up doing, depending on the project, like this car that I was talking about, the cowl has been replaced. The firewall has been replaced. The torque boxes appear to be replaced, and the floor pans from either side are replaced. However, the floor pans are not welded to the floor supports. Why? I don't know. That's a requirement. You must weld the floor pan to the floor supports. And I've shown this in several videos. This one's not welded. In fact, just an observation here. On the driver's side that you're looking at right now, the kick panel on the side, which mates the firewall to the A-pillar, I grabbed that with my hand and I can pull it away from the firewall. The flange that meets the firewall, it's not even connected. Why? Again, I don't know. It feels like somebody was cutting corners and not really following the stuff, that should be happening. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, wow. Let me download that. Let me download that real quick. But anyway, the firewall, things they're not fully attached. And that drives me crazy. When it comes down to it, I'm, because of the aircraft industry, having a collision shop, in particular, when you do body work on a collision job, if there were 10 welds on a panel, you cut it out, you're required by law to put 10 welds back in the same location. Not 11, not 9, not 8, 10. So whenever I try to do these cars, now granted, I know the standards are different. These cars, they were built and meant to be tossed in 5 to 10 years. Modern cars, because of the collision structure, the way they're designed to collapse to save a life, you can't overdo what the manufacturer has created. Not legally. You put in too many welds and make it too strong in a certain area, and there's an accident, and a person dies, and they can go, oh, wait a minute, this guy worked on it, and he put in 2 extra welds at this location, which probably caused this person's death. They can come after you. So that's why there's rules and regulations with that stuff. But these cars, I've shown it before. There could be 30 welds on one side and 19 on the other. Depends on how good the guy felt that day and running the gun. Spot welder. But anyway, this car, like I said, whoever worked on it, I don't know. The panel's they're not fully attached. So it needs the Barry touch. Yeah. Joe Daddy's fix. I'm going to make it solid, and of course it'll be a fastback. Carson, back on the seals. Split seals replace rope ones. Thanks. Next time I'll look for it. I have one more Buick in the garage. Okay. Tony says, thanks for your help. You're welcome. Phil has sent me a picture. Check this out. Okay. Now, let me look and see if I have any written information as to what this is. H.R. Holden. H.R. Holden. Now, I don't know what that compares to, but it looks like here in the States that would be a Falcon or along the Falcon, designs. But that thing is clean. What year is that, Phil? That's what you're talking about. You color coded the all the chrome and stuff. That I like it. In fact, if I put my hand up and I kind of block off a lot of that car, the nose looks like a lot like a 67 Belvedere. Very similar to a 67, which is one of my cars I really like. But yeah, I'll let Phil tell us more about it. H.R. Holden. I don't know what year it is. I don't know any of that stuff. So, Dawn, I can't imagine how flimsy the car would be without welds. Betsy felt flimsy with welds. Yeah. Robert just sent Barry a pic of mine when I first started test fitting the frame rails. Okay. I'll download that quick. So anyway, I'm waiting for Phil to come in and tell us more about this H.R. Holden. Oh, okay. It's a 66 5-year project. That's a sharp car, Phil. And I know that the rules, or let's say the standards, are different from here in the States to Australia. Like, it's normal to have a hot rod 4-door, right? In Australia. Is that a wrong opinion? Or does it just feel like that's a normal thing? You could just have a hot rod 4-door. Here in the States, everything's got to be a 2-door. They want the coupe. But yeah, that's a cool car. I'm gonna download one more picture here. I'm gonna pull this one off. Go back to comments. Be cool. What do you think of this? I'm 17, working on a 68 Mustang with my dad, and I have to get the engine and the wiring done. And it's a 3-speed. Do you think we could get it done in a month? Engine is good and it runs. Oh yeah. I mean, you can. A lot of that's going to depend on your skill level and your experience. I grew up in my dad's junkyard, so I could swap and pull. Me and my brother working together. I know in one instance we pulled 2 engines. Actually, technically pulled 4 engines and installed 2 the same day and had both cars up and running. So again, it depends on the experience. When I was working with my brother, we had, of course, we're brothers. We grew up together. But we could almost work. It was one of those things where you had like a kind of a mind connection where you didn't have to really talk about things. So when it came to time pull an engine out of it, one of us would start on one side or one or the other and whatever, and boom, 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 have it out. So I know we did that one time. We pulled 2 engines out of 2 cars, went up in the junkyard, pulled 2 engines, came back down, put those 2 engines back into the other 2 cars, and had them both running the same day. So, but again, we have experience. But yeah, I think you got plenty of time. I would think that you should be able to get that together. Ray Buckman, front looks like a Belvedere or Satellite. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Plymouth 67. Dawn, me cool should be doable. Yes. Tony says thanks, Robert. Robert, Ford and Holden GM really had their own style of cars, and sadly not the case anymore. Yeah. So here's Robert's jig system, let's say. Let me pull this off here. So he had some jack stands and a block of wood, And I'm sure he had a cross measurement to make sure they were square side to side. But something along those lines is really all you need to get them in the right location. But again, measure, fabricate, build something, jig it up, whatever. Like you could have um, easily put a block of wood inside of each one of those frame rails on that block or on the outside, so you had your width, but you also can use a core support as a measurement, you know. Typically when I do all these things, I put things in, I test fit, test fit, test fit, make sure the sheet metal is up there and right before I weld anything underneath because I don't want to take that chance. Larry, thank you, man. Time for beers. Guess what arrived today? I forgot what you ordered. Or what did you order? Because it's gonna be hard to answer that question because I know you're in Japan. So 5,000 yen, right? That means I'm rich now. Thank you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me go back up here. Hold on a second. So anyway, let me pull this picture down for a second. And Robert saying in Australia. Yeah, talking about the Holden Ford and Holden. Okay. So Robert's talking to Tony. Angry Andy, since the front end of your new project has lots of replace panels, do you have a manufacturer reference measurements you have manufacturer reference measurements you rely on to make sure things are mostly in place? No, I don't. I'll be honest. Like when I put together the convertible car, I used references of another car to get the locations, but I also, as I said before, I mock things in place, put sheet metal on, because the sheet metal is going to give you indications. Like if you have the frame rails too high, you're going to have a big gap at the bottom of the door, where the door meets the fender, stuff like that. So you get the lines right. Measurements are important, but they may not be the most important. I'm just saying, because you could have some issue with a measurement that is actually going to affect the sheet metal. Well, there's not much you can do with the sheet metal. I mean, there is, but there's not a lot you can do to massage sheet metal to make it fit the car. So I try to do everything ahead of time and make sure that the panels will fit the car correctly. If not, I adjust the frame rail, whatever I need to tweak that so that things fit nice. Robert, I spent a number of hours sitting there looking at it and measuring it many times. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you did. And even that, there's you can still find room for improvement. Different ways to modify things. Ray, what's that like? $2? I don't know. But Jerry says 113 yen to the U.S. dollar. So I don't know what that equals when you do the math. But either way, I want to say thank you, Larry. I appreciate it very, very much. So Larry says his 69 Ford Torino Fastback has arrived. Cool. That's got to be fun. That's got to be cool. You should send me some pictures of that. Or have you ever sent me pictures of that before? I think you were. Oh, there it is. He sent me a picture. All right. Let me get there. Let me go grab that picture and get it up. Get it up there. All right, here it comes. Boomsy. Cool. I see you have some admirers around it. Very nice. Very nice. I like it. What are the specifics on that? What's the drivetrain and all that stuff? Tony, all the panels fit together well, so I just need to make sure to put it back as it was. That's the hard part, right? Yeah, that is the hard part. Yeah, I mean, the panels all fit good. Use your existing frame rails and that sort of thing to make your jigging system, and just put them back where they were, just like that. That's all you got to do. Let's see. Angry Andy, I like the jig, the Infernal Craftsman. I'll be doing something similar in the near future. Appreciate you and Barry's videos. They're great. Thank you, Angry. Or thank you, Andy. Ray says, that's good. Boogie Bomb, $45. Yeah. I appreciate it. I do. Every little bit helps, honestly. Jerry says $44.25. Okay. Boogie Bomb, very generous of Larry. Yes, it is. That will buy some beer. It is a very nice tree now. And Robert says he sees evidence of a burnout. What? Oh, yeah, look at there. You can see. Maybe the throttle got, stuck a little bit on the tarmac or wherever that's at. That's not tarmac, is it? That's a shipping area. So maybe the throttle hung a little bit. Don, excellent Torino. My brother would love it. Yep. Larry, 351 Windsor FMX, nothing special. Next project car for my son and I. Project? What's it need? I mean, I think I'm seeing it looks pretty good. I can't tell if the paint's proper on the deck lid, if there's something wrong with it. But the sides, things look great. So what are the plans for it? Larry, what are you going to do with that thing? Do some serious customizing or what? Okay. We have to let that question go up into space, bounce around satellites, come down over there in Japan. Anyway, starting to get close to that time where I'm going to have to call it a day here in a minute. And I'm not sure, again, what Larry has in mind for the project, but I'm sure he has something in mind. And I'm venturing there's not another one of those over in Japan either. Just a thought. Or if there is, there's only one or two others. I mean, it seems like it would be a hard thing to find over there. So I hope you don't have any trouble getting parts or whatever your plans are, getting all that stuff together. Along with that, speaking of parts, I've heard some different things about shipping. I've heard there's some places that are getting, materials and parts. Of course, we all know the shipping containers are stuck wherever. I've also heard that they're starting to take them to Florida now. Florida's like, hey, you don't want to handle it out there? Bring it to us. We'll take care of it. So who knows? Maybe Florida will become the next, major shipping delivery place. Larry, panel alignments, floor pans need replacing, but Mustang is stock. This one here is son's choice. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to call it a day. I really thank everybody for being here and being part of this. I plan to be back on Monday. I believe it's this weekend is Halloween, right? So I don't know what the rules are, for Halloween celebrations, but I hope you all have a fun Halloween. If you're doing something, kids, get them candy, hand it out, let them have some sugar, and send them home. But anyway, that'll be it for this episode. Yeah, Dawn says boo. Yeah. Whoa, is it boo because I'm going or boo because it's Halloween? And Ray says, I read somewhere that California handles like 40% of the market. They very well might. But I've heard Florida is saying, bring it to us. We'll handle it. So anyway, that'll be it. Again, thank you all for being here. And I'll be back on Monday night at 7. But until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.